Holding out. How you holding out?
I was going silent.
Oh, no.
So I had a little fun with that. She sent me that thing. But
He was
her
lying.
picture had some ducks in it. I said, ugly ducks are enjoying it. It's all the way up, I think. Almost up the Mississippi River. Has- yeah.
Good evening. I'd like to call our meeting to order tonight. I would like to lead us in our prayer. I will say, just for a point of reference, Mayor Aaron, she's out obviously tonight. She's recuperating. She's a little bit under the weather, but she said she'll be right as rain pretty soon, and she sends her regards. So she is doing good, but she's at the house just kind of resting. So she'll be back up shortly. So I wanted to make sure that she sends her regards from the mayor's office. I'd like to lead us in our prayer. I know Pastor Morris was scheduled to be here tonight, but I know he's got a busy schedule this week. So I'll lead us in our prayer. Right from the prayer, we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible. Mr. McCullum, call roll, please.
Councilman Roberts,
Here.
President Logan,
Here.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Here.
Councilman Hogg.
Item 5, approval of our agenda. We have a fairly light agenda tonight. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Roberts. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 6, visitors to address our city council on the agenda formally is Mr. Dale Phillips.
Dale Phillips, 5518 Chestertown Trace. Thank you, Mr. President, Council, for allowing me to come speak tonight. I'll try to make this brief. I have several points to make. First thing I'd like to say, as many of you already know, I am the current chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission. I want to make it very clear, I am here tonight as a citizen and not as a member of that commission. I speak only for myself, and I want to make it clear that I'm not speaking for that commission. However, I will say we meet tomorrow night, and this same topic will be addressed while we are in session. Zoning board meeting of April 7th was a meeting that we had by telephone. Prior to that, I had contacted Ms. Ram the week before that concerning the agenda and voiced my concerns of an item that I felt probably needed to be addressed at a later time due to its complexity and the fact that we were doing this over the phone. She informed me that City Hall was requesting that it be moved forward and that we hear it, and I agreed, and it was brought up on the agenda of the April 7th meeting. During that meeting, and I'm not here to speak about this particular project. I'm here to speak about how we as officials of the city have conducted ourselves. So I'm not going to call names at this particular time. We had that meeting. During that meeting, this particular project, it became very evident that this particular project had some issues, and this project was brought up for vote to be tabled, and it was tabled until the May meeting. It was brought before the Planning and Zoning Commission in May. It was discussed in depth. The petitioner was here. It was discussed. There were several issues brought forth. It was brought to a vote with a non-favorable recommendation to the City Council. The item then went to the City Council, at which time the City Council heard this petitioner or heard this item. It was my understanding, and let me clarify when I say my understanding. Mayor Aaron is not here, but some of you sitting on the council there have spoken with me. Some of you haven't. The reason I stopped talking to people is I'm not here to create division. I'm not here to create an argument. I'm not here to be divisive. What I'm here for is to bring to point of light how we handle the situation. So once I got to a certain point, there was no need to continue to talk to people. It was obvious where we were headed. So in an effort not to create division, I stopped talking to people. Having said that, the motion, it was brought before the City Council, to my understanding, to suspend the rule and be addressed that night, at which time the City Council felt that it did not want to suspend the rule, and it did not suspend the rules, which would have pushed it to a second reading at a later date. It was in my understanding that the city administrator took it upon himself to decide that we were all wrong and issued them a business license and put them into business, which is fine. Here is my point. The city administrator had all this knowledge before it made it to zoning and planning. Once it made it to zoning and planning and a non-favorable vote was given and it was sent to the city council, it is above the city administrator. When an elected body is hearing it, it is above one person. I'm still okay here. Where I have a problem is this decision was made. And it's my understanding that at least the mayor and 2 councilmen had no knowledge that this decision was made. Not to mention that lack of respect to notify the planning and zoning that even though we had gone through the process and heard it, that apparently someone felt that there was no need for us ever to have heard it before, but we did. My point to you, to everyone here, I'm not here to, I don't have any questions. I'm not here to have a whole lot of discussion. I'm sure we reached the proper decision. I have no problem with the decision that was reached with the final outcome, but the way we did it was wrong. We handled it wrong. It looks backdoored. It looks like the tail is wagging the dog. Anytime you have a body that has a negative favor on it, and then it comes to city council, and it looks like the city council's not in favor, and then it gets to just one person making the decision, even if the right decision was made, and I'm not saying the right decision wasn't made, I'm just saying that the way this matter was handled was wrong. It looks bad. It cast a bad light on how operations of the city works. It shows lack of respect for a volunteer commission that gives their time and efforts for this city. It also shows lack of respect for a department head that worked tirelessly to put this, when in fact, if we felt this way, if in fact we could have handled it before it ever come to planning and zoning and not had this. Again, the proper decision may have been made, but it was handled incorrectly. Handled incorrectly. And I urge you, for the city of Northport, fix this process. Follow the procedures. Support your employees. You can reach the same decision without it looking like, again, like the tail is wagging the dog. We've been through that several times in Northport. Some of you remember that. We have a procedure. Let's follow it. Please, I encourage you to follow it. We're not here to discuss why a decision was made. I don't want to hear why things were done, because there is no justification when two boards, when two groups of people are addressing it. There is no justification for one person to step in and make the decision without discussing it with other elected officials or board members first. I'm sure there's probably reasons why that didn't happen, but that still does not do away with the fact that it was not discussed with elected officials before that decision was made. I want to thank each and every one of you for the job you do. It's hard. It's a thankless job. Thank you for letting me come talk tonight. I encourage you, fix this problem, please. Stop the tail from wagging the dog. Let's take Northport where it needs to be, but to do that, we have to run it like it needs to be run. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. Thank you. Members of the council, I don't know if you guys wanted to speak on that. I know Mr. Phillips had some strong concerns as being a chairman of our planning and zoning.
I'll be glad to address it if I do have to turn this mic. That work?
Yeah.
Let me just say, Mr. Phillips, this was staffed. The issue was staffed. It came up late in the process to my attention, not early. It was discussed with members of the council, maybe not the entire council. We talked about it, and with some clear interpretation, some common sense. It should have never, this is an item that probably should never have even been before the zoning board. Didn't require the zoning board. The property was zoned properly for the use that was being petitioned to be used for. And the last thing I want any business coming to Northport is to get the, quote, bureaucratic runaround to where it's hard to do business in Northport. That's what we're trying to avoid. And I appreciate your service. I appreciate your concern. Maybe we didn't do a good job in communicating. Feel free. I'm here. You can call me. I got my phone number. Any issue you ever have with what we're doing at City Hall, I welcome you to call me. I'm available. I'll tell you that. And that decision, if it was I think it was just, we're going through COVID. We've got all kind of crazy things going on that have us a bit disjointed and have been for several months now, not weeks, but months. And it's been very difficult to get a lot of things done, but be assured, we put Northport first in our decision making. That is mine, or I wouldn't be here. Just be assured that what we're trying to accomplish is to make Northport a place that is easy to do business in, not to circumvent any rules, any regulation. I think it was a simple oversight and interpretation, and we had that discussion with members of the council that
One member. Be clear, One member. I've done my homework. One member.
Well,
Let me rephrase that. I have talked to people. If someone has not told me the truth, then you may be correct. But to my knowledge, you had that conversation with one member.
well, and that member, well, I won't say what
That member's not the councilman for that district either. Is that not correct?
I can't answer that question
Okay.
for you.
Let me ask you this one more question, Mr. McCullum, and I'm not here to argue, and I appreciate everything you said, and I understand. I think we probably reached the right decision. I'm saying that. But the facts didn't change from the time that you encouraged it to be pushed through our commission talk phone meeting in April. The facts didn't change. They didn't change. They didn't just decide that we're going to do this. The facts stayed the same. Why did it take this measure failing one commission and looking like it's going to fail another for you to step in and do that?
That was my first chance to sit down and say, somebody explain this to me as to why we're not doing this. And
So
I
then you
stood-
encouraged it, you encouraged it to be heard by the Planning and Zoning Commission without having the facts then.
I would disagree with that
Okay.
statement.
Folks, I'm not here to argue. I just want the process is fixed. We didn't, I'm willing to say, as part of the city here, we didn't follow the right process. We all know we didn't. We didn't serve the people of that district right. We've got to do better. Did anybody do anything wrong? Did anybody do anything corrupt? No. It just gives an appearance of something we don't want the city to be. We have to be more professional. We have to be more upfront. This is not 50 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Phillips. I'll say just for the record, I do think that staff has done, in my opinion, I think they did the right thing by putting it to both boards. We did miss an opportunity. Probably get the same result, but we did miss an opportunity. I think, in my opinion, staff did do the right thing in interpretation, in my opinion. But I do appreciate Ms. Phillips coming up and expressing the concerns about it. Again, it was up for a vote. We had some concerns about pushing it to a second vote, or excuse me, suspending the rules, and there were some concerns. Again, I'll say that as one of the representatives, I feel like we did miss an opportunity to go through the process. But for the record, I believe staff did the right thing in terms of interpretation from the beginning, in my opinion. I believe staff did the right thing from planning department down. I think so. Thank you. I see Ms. Judith is in the audience, and I know you're not signed up, but I know you are here. I know the mayor could not be here. So, Ms. Judith, will you come up, please? And you're representing MDA, I think. And again, I know Mayor Aaron, she could not be here.
I hate that the mayor couldn't be here as
Yes,
well.
ma'am. Yes,
I've been
ma'am.
trying to get her attention for quite a while now. And I did send over a proclamation, a draft of a proclamation declaring the third Friday of June as Gun Violence Awareness Day for the city of Northport. You may have seen on Facebook that Tuscaloosa recognized June the 5th. Moms Demand Action is a national organization with over 6 million men and women and students across the United States, with chapters in every state in the Union. And the Alabama chapter is recognizing the month of June as Gun Violence Awareness Month. And we sent over the proclamation, and it simply says, we're tired of losing more than 100 people a day to gun violence. We're tired of Alabama being the third most deadly state in the United States. We're tired of Alabama losing 1,001 people per 100,000 in our population. And we want to work toward a safer Alabama. Now, a lot of people think when they hear Moms Demand Action that we mean gun control. We do not mean gun control. Many of us, myself included, are gun owners. What we want is safety awareness for managing guns, for storing guns. I think it's disgraceful that 313 handguns were stolen in the city of Tuscaloosa in the year 2019. I think it's terrible that 61 guns were recovered in recent raids in Tuscaloosa from people with them without permits or with permits and just, found when they were doing stops. And they confiscated them, so they must have been permanent lists, right? Has to be legal. So we are working to declare gun safety, and we have our Wear Orange. I don't know if you've seen Facebook with Wear Orange, but City Hall in Tuscaloosa was orange. Imagine that. Good old
In Alabama.
in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and we turned it orange. So I'd like to see Northport. I'm a resident of Northport. I'd like to see Northport stand for a safer Northport. And I thank all of our police force and everyone in Northport that we don't have the kind of numbers and violence that we see in other cities, and even our sister city here in Tuscaloosa. We have Pam Foster, who is a co-lead with us. She's wearing the Wear Orange t-shirt. It's a big movement, and I don't want Northport to be left out. So the mayor has it. We also have the mayor against illegal guns. Illegal guns, not legal, illegal guns. And this is a national movement as well that I'd like to leave with the mayor to take a look at and see if that she and the council could support working against illegal guns. Moms is in Tuscaloosa. We're meeting with community leaders in Tuscaloosa and West Alabama, and we're working toward a safer Alabama. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Judith. Thank you so much. And again, I will make sure, and Whitney will make sure that the mayor gets that and that other bit of information, and we will make sure that she reaches back out to your group.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Item 7A1 is unfinished business. It's a second reading of an amendment to design the review standards pertaining to sidewalks. This is out of Ms. Ram's office in planning. Ms. Ram.
Yes, sir. This proposed amendment will create the fee in lieu of sidewalks program. The amendment does contain guidelines that will determine when a developer may petition the Planning Commission to contribute to the trust fund instead of installing sidewalks. The fees will be determined by the city engineer and will be based on the total cost of sidewalk installation. And this does come with a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
Motion to approve.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
New business 8A1 is a first reading of a permanent resolution fixing the cost of demolition and authorizing the filing of a lien at 4501 Lakeshore Drive. Ms. Ram.
Yes, sir. Those total costs of demolition is $6,615.95, and this will authorize the filing of a lien at that location.
Thank you. Again, this is for a first reading by ordinance. Is there a member of council wanted to offer this up for a first reading?
I will offer it up.
That's offered up by Councilman Hinton. 8A2 is a first reading of a permanent resolution fixing the cost of demolition and authorizing the filing of a lien at 1203 12th Street. Ms. Ram.
Yes, sir. The total cost associated with this demolition is $4,783.80, and that will authorize the filing of a lien.
Thank you. I'll offer that for a first reading on that agenda item. 8B1 has been deleted, of course. For the record, 8B2 is a resolution accepting change order number 1 for wastewater treatment plant and solids removal. Again, this is out of our utilities department, Mr. John Powell Webb.
Yes, sir. In 2017, we received bids for the solids removal at the water treatment plant. It's a 3-year contract to Merrill Brothers. They were the lowest bidder of the project. During this year, we received a lot of rain, and the contract has some further obligations when the project was nearly complete. Based on, if we would have continued with the project, we would have been hauling most of the water out of there. We see a very good deal for the city. They offered a deduct for $32,301.91, and we had the lagoon 95% cleaned.
Very good. This is a budgeted item, correct?
Sir.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve that resolution for the change order number 1 in solids removal and disposal of a water treatment plant? It's an actual reduction in the original contract by $32,301.91, and this will authorize our city administrator's office to execute the necessary documents needed to proceed with the project.
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
carried.
Third item is a resolution authorizing our city administrator to enter into an agreement with Nexsoft. This is Cybersecurity Solutions LLC. Again, this is Scott Murphy out of IT.
Yes, sir. This company provides cybersecurity training. They've done it for several years for the state, and we're able to come in with state pricing. And they also kind of bring all of our security systems together into one dashboard and monitoring system. And on top of that, once we're a customer, they will provide us $500,000 of remediation services if we actually get hit by ransomware. They'll bring people on site, help us get our servers and everything back in order.
Thank you. Is the 3-month agreement, Scott, is that renewable, or is that initially just going 3 months and then
We're going just 3 months to make it to the next budget year, then we'll do a 1-year agreement next budget year.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
Motion to approve.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg. Is there a second? I'll make that in the second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
motion carried.
Fourth item is a resolution authorizing our city administrator's office to execute a contract with ALDOT for Highway 69 and 82 cooperative maintenance agreement in our public rights of ways. Ms. Brooks Starnes out of Public Works.
Yes, sir. This is a maintenance agreement between ALDOT and the city of Northport for maintaining the right-of-way from the northern city limits to the intersection of 69 and 82.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hinton. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item 5 is a resolution adopting our annual identity theft prevention report. Mr. Webb.
Yes, sir. About 10 years ago, the Federal Trade Commission required public utilities to implement guidelines for preventing and responding to identity theft. The program requires an annual report be made to the City Council to review the effectiveness of the program and any recommended revisions. I'm pleased to inform the council that the Utilities Department of Billing has not experienced any identity theft problems for the past 12 months. The precautions outlined in the adopted program have been implemented. The office has no identity theft issues with third-party billing also, and we're not recommending any changes to the program at this time.
Thank you, John. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
That's a motion by Councilman Hogg, second by Councilman Roberts. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
President Logan,
Yes.
Councilman Hinton,
Yes.
Councilman Davis,
Yes.
Councilman Hogg,
Yes.
motion carried.
Item 6, resolution reappointing a member to the Civil Service Board. Mr. Rose.
Yes, sir. Ms. Bonnie Corbett's term is set to expire July the 31st of 2020, next month. I've reached out to her to see if she was be interested in serving again. She has done us a good job, and she said she is more than happy to serve another term if y'all will agree to do so.
Thank you. Is there a motion to reappoint a member to the Civil Service Board, Ms. Bonnie Corbett, 6-year term? Northport Civil Service Board will expire July 31st, 2026.
I'll make that motion.
I hear somebody in the audience. Mr. Washington, are you clearing your throat?
No, sir. I think you might need to consider someone else instead of Northport.
Do you want to come up here and put it on record? That way we can at least give you that way the record will show that, and then we can continue with our voting. Because
Yes,
I don't want to make sure we.
Washington, City of Northport. I highly think that this council should consider some type of diversity this go round.
Thank you.
I'm recommending Ms. Madison. You know, personally, I'm not interested in serving, but Ms. Madison is. Just a consideration. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And I was clearing my throat.
Yes, sir. We did have a motion on the floor. We had a motion by Councilman Hinton. Then public comment by Mr. Washington. All right, we had a motion by Councilman Hinton, public comment by citizen Mr. Washington. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Councilman Roberts. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hedden.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item C, consent agenda. We have 6 items on the agenda. They range from minutes of the previous meeting, bill listings, travel and training, and a PO requisition for our annual maintenance software, GIS. Is there a member of council wanted to offer and approve the consent agenda as printed?
So moved.
That's a motion by Councilman Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Roberts. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts.
Yes.
President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hedden.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Item 9, reports of special committees to council. If any member of council wanted to report from their respective committee.
Darren's not here tonight, is he? No. From the Finance Committee, City of Northport's actually doing fairly well considering the COVID and the impact on other areas. Tuscaloosa County's down. Our finances are holding fairly steady. That's good news and bad news. You know, the good news is the city can function. The bad news is it shows that we have a high level of retail that makes up our tax base. And with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and move forward with a couple of the projects that, at least some engineering estimates and some things that we're looking at that were slated for the 1 cent increase, and also being able to put more money into the road fund. I appreciate Judge McCollum and staff looking at expenses, trying to keep those down just in case it had happened, but I think that at least for the moment we're okay. Who knows what's going to happen in the next 6 months.
Thank you, Councilman. What projects, in terms of road projects, were you guys looking at from finance pushing forward to projects committee?
Well, part of what I understand is that the scanning showed that this city's been putting Band-Aids on stuff for 30 years, and we have roads that are probably worse than
A dirt
I don't
road?
know. I think a dirt road would be an improvement in some places. And considering you have a budget of only $500,000 based on gas tax, you could pave the parking lot out here a couple of times with $500,000. So we're trying to free up some serious cash, because this is going to take, some of these roads need to be completely dug out, redone. Several neighborhoods that have been, you just can't top coat anymore. It just, you're throwing money away. So we're trying to come up with a larger pool of money to address some of these major issues that have been identified in the scanning report.
Thank you. Any further business, Councilman from Finance? Any further business for any other committee?
I'd like to mention that the administrative committee will meet this Thursday at 2 o'clock. Any items for discussion? I'll let Kim know, in fact.
Thank you, Councilman. Any word from projects? Councilman Davis.
We'll have a meeting at 9 o'clock on the 17th of June in the pre-council chambers. 9 o'clock.
I do know that, I'll say this for the record, we have been working on Tom Taylor and Jones Road. I think we've been working on that, so we're trying to figure out a plan of action to at least address it through projects. So we should be getting some information to council pretty soon on that specific 2 roads. Under retail, Councilman Hogg and myself, I know we've looked at trying to recruit a potential business, just throwing a fish line on the hook and trying to see what we can get. The other one is really some good news from our residential building permits for the last 3 or 4 years. They're averaging about 144 permits per year, which really speaks to the residential strength of the city. In terms of retail committee, we are still moving forward with some aspects of the hotel at Bridge Avenue. So we are actually in the process of what I call the friendly lawsuit that we have to do by law. And so after this month, we should have some clear sailing to get that project up and going. That's at 700 Bridge Avenue. So again, Councilman Hogg, I don't know if you had any updates from retail as well.
Well, there's a few things that are announced pretty soon, but last bit of the lease and contract phase, so they'll be coming pretty soon.
Yeah. All right, thank you. Item 10, public hearings. We have none on the agenda. Item 11, city administrator's business. Mr. McCullum.
Yes, I think we need a formal action to move our meeting from the 15th to the 22nd. And that way, otherwise, we'll be meeting next Monday. But due to not having a quorum, we felt it would be, obviously, we couldn't meet last week, so we moved to this week and probably maybe formalize them the 22nd as being meeting day.
Thank you. So the request from the administrator's office is to move the regular scheduled council meeting from the third Monday to the fourth Monday, which is June the 22nd. Start time will be at 5:30, correct? All right. I'll make a motion to actually move our regularly scheduled third Monday meeting from the 15th to June 22nd. Start time will be 5:30. That's in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Davis. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. McCullum.
Councilman Roberts. Yes. President Logan.
Yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilman Davis.
Yes.
Councilman Hogg.
Yes.
Item 12, departmental business. We have none on the agenda. Item 13 is public comment. We have no citizen signed to speak in public comment. Item 14 is mayor and council members' business. Again, Mayor Aaron is actually out tonight. District 1, Councilman Roberts.
I have nothing tonight.
Thank you. District 2 in my business, a couple things. I will say that I appreciate Mr. Phillips again today coming out and speaking on his concern. I'll say it again for the record. I do believe our planning department got it right. I think we missed an opportunity. But I can assure you that won't happen again. I do think that the subject matter, in my opinion, should have been moved to a second reading. We didn't get that opportunity. We missed an opportunity. But I want to say for the record, I do believe our planning department clarified it the correct way, in my opinion. So that was one of my concerns. I do want to also give condolences again to Stephen Williams, Officer Williams, or Sergeant Williams out of Moody, Alabama. I know he's a slain officer, lost his life in the line of duty, and I know our thoughts and prayers are with their family. And also wanted to, under my business, also, as I said in my prayer earlier in the meeting, the family of George Floyd, I know that was something that struck everybody hard, especially myself. But I think we as a community, again, if I'm allowed to speak, Mayor and Council, I think we as a community can all agree that racism and social injustice is wrong anywhere. We should all agree on that. And it has no place in society because as Christians, that is not keeping with God's doctrine. It's just not. So just being aware of that, and I was very hopeful and encouraged by all the positive support that I saw around the community, white, black, or whatever color. Everybody is learning to understand slowly what this means for our community. In terms of Northport, I think we do have more in common than we have differences, and that goes for a lot of people. I do know that I feel otherwise. I think in the spirit of just working together as a community, those differences are very limited, but we have so much in common. The fact that us as a community, peaceful protesting, learning how to address that issue, because again, I said it before, racism has no place in society. But what do you do from here? In my opinion, I think you mobilize and you engage with learning the process, getting out and vote, being engaged, getting in our communities, having these honest conversations in a respectful manner. So again, I think working as a community, we all can be a better community, but we've seen it all over the United States. Fortunately, we are a community who understands that we have to talk it through. And again, I'm just personally saying that racism has no place in society. So one more thing in my business, and I will be quiet. MLK, I appreciate staff working hard on it. We had that last public meeting May the 4th. BKI should be ready to submit their environmental document process. So after that, that should be skyrocketed a little bit back to the state. So we should be getting ready to do some rights of way and utilities late summer, early fall. So that is basically saying that we are ready to start engaging property owners late summer, early fall. Again, Mr. McCullum and his staff's working on one particular aspect of the bridge going toward, I guess, Snow's Mill. I think that's the bridge that he and his staff identified that is to the point where we need to either do something quickly or include it in the actual project. The workaround project, and hopefully we can address this with a full body of council, would be the actual Bridge Avenue kind of tie-in, where we would use that as a workaround project so we would not have to go through any more federal approvals. And if you've ever gone through the federal government, they're about as slow as pond water. And so the reason we decided to do a workaround plan using Bridge Avenue to realign it, you're not going through federal approvals. You can get it done a whole lot quicker, and we can still get the federal project itself on MLK going. So very good news. I appreciate staff working hard. I will get some updates to the citizens fairly soon on that project. So that's slated to kick off as well with a Bridge Avenue workaround plan to improve it and tie in back to the realignment. So that's all I have under my business. District 3, Councilman Hinton.
Just a personal note, I'd like to announce that I plan to run for office and seek election for the council position in District 3 for the upcoming term. And I appreciate your prayers and support.
Thank you, Councilman. District 4, Councilman Davis.
I have none, President Logan.
Thank you. District 5, Pro Tem Hogg.
President Logan, I will piggyback on what you said, and I will agree that racism has no place in society, so I appreciate you saying that. All I have.
Thank you. Item 15 is adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? I'll make that motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hinton. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, same sign. We're adjourned, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you and have a good evening.